Hi, I'm Gabe Wood.
I'm Jayani Wood. Gabe and I met in the youth group here at PBC when we were teenagers, 20-something years ago. I'd had the desire to adopt since I was a little girl, and then when Gabe and I started dating, I shared that with him. I had only seen the parts of adoption, the easy parts of adoption, and had this idea that someday God would drop the money and a baby practically in our laps, and we'd go about building the life we had imagined. For the first several years of our marriage, we pushed that to the back burner. Birthing 2 children, Gabe going back to school, and me working for a nonprofit. But at a certain point, I just had this very unsettled feeling where I was just unsatisfied with life. I knew something was supposed to be different for us, and we were supposed to be doing something, not thinking about something.
We started talking more about adopting and fostering, but I would push back with excuses like, we can't afford that right now, or I can't stand to see them leave. It really just boiled down to fear. James 1:27 is pretty clear about caring for vulnerable children, and I was afraid of the unknown, afraid of hurting on some level. But God persisted through Jayani to break me down, and I agreed it was time to start with the process to become foster parents. The training wasn't exciting, nor was it convenient, as I would drive directly from Herndon, where I was working, and I'd be there until 9 at night. It was not in the least bit the way I wanted to spend the evening, but we did it because we knew God wanted us to be there. When we got our call about baby C, we were told he would probably need an adoptive family. He came to us on March 24th, 2013, the same day we got our foster care license. We quickly learned our first lesson about life as a foster family. Rarely do things go the way we expect them to.
For sure.
Exactly 1 week later, he was reunited with his mom. We cried and we wondered, what in the world were we thinking becoming foster parents?
Yeah.
But that same afternoon, we were asked to take 2 toddlers. Yes, that was crazy.
Yes. When we walked into the Department of Family Services office, my heart melted at the sight of a barely 4-year-old wearing pajamas that didn't fit and a panicked expression on his face, and an 18-month-old running from one strange adult to another, looking for some kind of reassurance. They didn't put up any kind of protest when we loaded them into the car. The realization that they had no fear of strangers or hesitancy about the situation was chilling. The next few years were so full of meetings and appointments, sometimes 10 a week, nights where children woke up screaming in terror, afraid to have me touch them, but more afraid to have me leave the room. I ended up sleeping on the floor. Such joy when a smile finally reached their eyes. It was hard, it was exhausting, it was scary, and it was all out of our control. We had to confront uncomfortable issues and questions every day, explaining things to our older kids, wondering what kind of long-term emotional or physical trauma we would face. Would the kids return home to a safe family, or would they need an adoptive family? How much attachment could we build with them? And would we be able to have a relationship with their first family if they went home? So much we didn't know, but God reminded us over and over again that He knew, and it was all in His hands. The day that Caleb and Maddie's parental rights were terminated, we experienced every possible emotion. Friends sat in the courthouse waiting room and prayed with us while we waited and anxiously paced for hours. The first person to come out of the courtroom was their biological mom. Despite knowing that it was the right decision and feeling joy that the kids would stay with us, the brokenness in her tears just crushed me.
We cared for 5 children and teens over 6 years. Usually, when we tell people that we fostered and adopted, they respond with explanation that they can never do that. It would be too hard. I used to think that. But really, it's not that we can't do hard things. It's more that we're afraid to. Healing trauma is a lifelong journey, and at times it's been really, really hard. We've also experienced more joy than we ever thought possible.
For sure.
And we've seen God do only things that He could do. We have met so many amazing people, and He has shown the healing power of love and given us so many opportunities to show love and grace to the people who are hurting.
We've experienced a lot of the things we were afraid of: goodbyes, complicated relationships, uncertainty, feeling completely helpless. We've also become familiar with the criminal court system, learned the process for reporting a missing teenager, having to go to the police station at 3 a.m. We've learned all about occupational therapy, vision therapy, equine therapy, play therapy, talk therapy versus brain-based therapy, so many things. But these things I never anticipated even being part of my life have quickly become some of the most important things. God has used us to advocate for children at the state and federal level, to support and help train other foster families, and has even entirely changed my career field with Project Belong.
Over the years, I've realized that a calm, predictable family life was never what God called any of us to do. I know without a doubt that fostering was as much about changing us as it has been about changing the children that we have cared for. Any life we could have created for ourselves wouldn't have brought us near as much abundance, adventure, and joy as the life that God has created for us.
Yes. In Loudoun County, there's usually between 50 and 60 kids in foster care at any given time. Virginia has the highest rate of teenagers aging out of foster care without a family of any state in the U.S. Here in our community, you can support a foster family just by joining a care community and bringing a meal once a month, or building a relationship with a teenager in foster care. I hope you'll think about it and pray and figure out what your next step is.